Hello and welcome into this week's edition of the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Rewind Show right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, consider going down below and hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. On today's edition of the Cup Rewind, we're looking back at last night's 58th annual Bass Pro Shops NRA night race. 500 laps around the half-mile Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee. And this was a fairly exciting race. I'm not ready to jump on the bandwagon that NBC was on, that Bristol is back, but it's getting there. We saw a pretty exciting race. 9 cautions for a total of 70 laps. First one came very early on lap number 2. We had a very big pileup on the front stretch involving cars such as Daniel Suarez, Bubba Wallace, the 96 car this week of Jesse Little, Casey Kane, the 7 of J.J. Yaley, Matt DiBenedetto, Michael McDowell, A.J. Allmendinger, the 00 of Landon Castle, Kyle Busch, most notably, the 66 of Timmy Hill, Martin Truex, Ty Dillon, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, all involved in this incident. A huge wreck on the front stretch that would change a lot of guys' nights very early. Next caution didn't come until lap 60. That was the competition caution for the rain that had happened Friday night into Saturday morning. Just as usual, making sure the tire wear is consistent and not too bad and all of that fun stuff. Lap 127 was the next caution, or excuse me, lap 125. That was the Stage 1 conclusion. Stage 1 went to Ryan Blaney in a very exciting battle with Kevin Harvick. Lap 199 would be the first caution in stage number 2 as the 38 of David Reagan spun on the backstretch. Next caution was at lap 250. That was the stage 2 conclusion. Stage number 2 went to Joey Logano in another exciting stage finish where he was battling with Chase Elliott. Stage 3, we had a few incidents. Lap 353, the first one was for the 51 driven this week by Reed Sorensen. He got into the wall in turn number 4. Lap 433, a strange incident off of turn number 4 as Kyle Busch thought he was clear to duck inside of Martin Truex, duck behind him. Wasn't quite clear though, got just barely tapped Truex, sent him for a ride into the inside wall, and then Truex comes back up and collects the 7 of J.J. Yaley. And this was, at the time, a battle for second on the track between Truex and Kyle Busch. Lap 473, Brad Keselowski spun on the backstretch, and the final caution of the night. Lap 483, as Chris Buescher and Kyle Busch get together in turn number 4. Lots of things happening here, flat tires all around. Very close quarters racing on a late restart. Chris Buescher up near the front. Basically the meat in a sandwich multiple times. 3 wide down the front stretch, and it just wasn't going to work. He ends up getting a flat tire, and Kyle Busch also gets a flat from this incident and tears the car up even more. And that would basically be the end of the night for Kyle Busch. Lap leaders on the night, we had a lot of them as nobody really got a great stranglehold on this race. We didn't really see anybody really dominate this race. Race high lap leader went to Ryan Blaney with 121 laps led. One less. Clint Bowyer almost had the most laps led on the night as he had 120. Also over 100 was Chase Elliott with 112 laps led. 95 laps went to Joey Logano. Then we have a big drop to the next guy. 24 laps led by Kurt Busch, 17 by Kyle Larson, 8 laps led by Kevin Harvick. 2 laps went to Eric Almirola, and Ryan Newman led 1 lap. All right, so we will get into your results on the night. Kurt Busch would be your winner on the night, his first win of the season in that 41 car. That now makes 3 cars out of the Stewart-Haas Racing stable winners on the season. And I would not be surprised to see Eric Almirola win a race by the end of the season as well. Almirola has been fast week in and week out. It's just circumstances a lot of weeks have taken him out of what would have been possible winning runs. So it's around the corner, I think, for Almirola. I don't see us getting to the end of the season without an Eric Almirola win. Kyle Larson was fast at the end of the race, just didn't, and he even had about 30 lap fresher tires than Kurt Busch at the end of the race, and just couldn't really do anything with Kurt. It was very strange, as I would have thought the fresh tires would have played more of a factor than what they did. Chase Elliott came home with another strong finish in the 3rd position, with Joey Logano and Eric Jones rounding out the top 5. Rest of your top 10 were Clint Boyer, Ryan Blaney, Alex Bowman, Jimmy Johnson, and Kevin Harvick. 11th through 20th, a great run for Trevor Bayne on the night. He was running in the top 10 a lot of the night. So a fantastic run for Trevor Bayne. And really the shining star for Roush Fenway Racing on Saturday night. As we can see here, we're already down to 20th on the results, and we don't see Ricky Stenhouse yet. So definitely, and even when Ricky Stenhouse was at his best on the night, I don't think he was as fast as Trevor Bayne. So a fantastic run out of that 6 car last night. Another decent run out of the RCR cars. They had speed on the night. 12th and 13th, not indicative of where Ryan Newman and Austin Dillon, I think, had speed for. Denny Hamlin came home in the 14th position, never really was a factor on the night. Brad Keselowski, after his spin late, came home 16th, 1 lap down. Daniel Suarez, after the lap 2 incident, still able to muster an 18th place finish, 1 lap down. 21st through 30th, William Byron in the 23rd position. Now we see Ricky Stenhouse. He came home in the 24th position, 5 laps off the pace. Jamie McMurray down here in the 29th position, and we documented Martin Truex's struggles up in the 2nd position, then turned by Kyle Busch off of turn number 4, 30th on the night for Martin Truex. 31st through 40th, last page here, Eric Almirola. Disappointing incident at the end of the race, cost him what would have been a really good, probably top 5 run. 31st on the night for Eric Almirola. Paul Menard out fairly early, 36th on the night for Paul Menard. Bubba Wallace down here in the 38th position. He was out after that lap 2 incident, as was AJ Allmendinger in the 39th position. All right, so that is your results for the Bass Pro Shops NRA night race. Now we'll head over to the Media Center. We'll see what your top 2 finishers on the night, Kyle Larson and Kurt Busch, had to say.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to finish second. You know, that's probably 12 to 15 spots, I feel like, better than where I deserve to finish. Our car is just really bad. I got lucky all night lining up, in the right lanes. And I could gain 3 or 4 spots every restart, and then, just fight to hang on there, and then I'd be, terrible at the end of the runs. There was 2 runs there where the leaders, I think, were a half straightaway back from lapping me. So, thought my car was going to be really good after practice yesterday. Probably should have spent a little more time around the bottom to work on our balance there to make it better. But, just probably the most frustrating Bristol race I've had, just because I never really felt like I had a shot to win.
We were doing some numbers, and the last time we were in Victory Lane here was probably most of these people were in high school. So how's it feel to be locked in for the playoffs now with this big win?
Did you replace the batteries in your calculator? Probably wore it out. It's been a while, and I'll tell you, this track brings out the best in everybody. And just to come here, to feel that Saturday night atmosphere and racing under the lights, it brings you back to the roots. And to have Billy Scott and has your first win, short track racer that grew up going through all the different tracks, and then when you come to the holy grail of short tracks, you want to win it. And so I'm just proud of his effort, the whole team. And I'm always a little bit more nervous when my dad's at the track. He's watching, he sees every move, and there's things that you do on restarts that he taught me from the beginning. And it's just the Saturday night atmosphere is family, and it brings out the best in you. And I'm glad we were able to deliver tonight. I mean, the race was incredible. Every time I looked in the mirror, it's somebody different. Restarts, I look in the windshield, it's somebody different. A ton of fast cars tonight.
And we'll take a look at your playoff grid before wrapping up here tonight. And one thing to note on here is now the top 3 guys that are in on points, that being Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski, and Kyle Larson, are all locked into the playoffs now, even if they don't get a win in the next 2 races. Darlington and Indy are the remaining races before the playoffs start. Blaney, Keselowski, and Larson have locked themselves in. I think Denny Hamlin's very close to it as well, even if he doesn't win in Darlington. I think he's going to be locked in on points as well. Eric Almirola probably will be as well. Then we look at the cutoff line. 79 points now, the gap between Alex Bowman and Ricky Stenhouse. At this point, technically, Ricky Stenhouse can still point his way in. Technically. Realistically, I don't see it happening. Not 79 points in 2 races. I don't see it happening. So, at this point, I think we can safely say anybody outside this playoff grid, anybody that's not inside the top 16, you got to win a race at either Darlington or Indy if you want to make the chase. And there's guys down here that can win races. Ricky Stenhouse has won races. Yes, they've both been on plate tracks, but Ricky Stenhouse can win races. Ryan Newman can win races. Daniel Suarez, although he hasn't won a race yet, I think he can win a race. And it'll be interesting to see if he can. Paul Menard has won at Indy in the past, so it's not out of the realm of possibility to possibly see Paul Menard win his way in right at the last second in Indy. And then there's some other guys down here that you never know. William Byron, Jamie McMurray could win races. Bubba Wallace might be able to sneak up there and win a race, depending on circumstances. There's guys down here below the cutoff that, given the right circumstances, can win a race and win their way into the playoffs. Darlington and Indy are 2 of the toughest tracks on the circuit, so it's not likely, I don't think, but it's not out of the realm of possibility, and it'll be interesting to watch going forward. But I think that'll do it for us tonight here on the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Rewind show. If you haven't seen them already, there is an Xfinity and a Truck Rewind that went up over the past couple of days, just after those races happened. There will be an ARCA Rewind go up later tonight, probably shortly after this as I'm recording it, immediately after I record this, as I just got back from Springfield right before I started recording this. I haven't taken a shower, which I probably should after being at a dirt track all day. I have a nice layer of dirt on me. I haven't even changed out my polo because this needed to get done. And I was planning on doing this at the hotel last night, and it was like shoestring Wi-Fi, and it never would have happened. It just would have been a waste of time to record it because it never would have gotten uploaded. So just had to do it as soon as I got back tonight. But like I said, there will be an ARCA Rewind going up later tonight as well, so look out for that. As well as pole position, as always, Monday night, 8 p.m., recapping all 3 NASCAR races this weekend, the ARCA race from Springfield and IndyCar from Pocono that happened earlier today as well. So if you haven't done it already, you need to go down below and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward. If you weren't subscribed, you missed a lot today as we had a decent amount of coverage go up from Springfield. 4 pre-race interviews with some of the heavy hitters in ARCA, as well as a winner interview that went up shortly after the race as well. It was very entertaining. Probably the most entertaining interview I have ever done with a driver. So I would recommend going back to watch that because that was very entertaining, I guess is probably the right word for it. So go back, check that out. And we'll have more of that going forward. And in fact, we'll have more of that this next weekend as we're going to the ARCA race in Berlin, Michigan as well. So Like I said, you need to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss any of that going forward. And hit that big thumbs up button on this video if you liked it. It is much appreciated when you do. So with that, this has been the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Rewind Show. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.